2024. A year when reading was more a chore than a pleasure, overwhelmed by everything that was going on from school to activities, as well as looking at social media where people seem to never fail, reading hundreds of books. I felt left behind.
I can't say I read nothing at all, but coming from 2 years in a row when I read 100 books each year, reading a mere 57 books felt like an incredible failure. I never felt like reading or creating or doing anything besides what I had to do for my studies or being too lazy. Enters 2025.
I was so excited by the new titles that were coming out. Sunrise on the Reaping, Oathbound, Thy Kingdom Come. I have all of these titles linked in the article that I've written about this, but there were so many books coming out. They just made me incredibly excited about getting back into reading. Another problem of mine and why I cannot read as much as I maybe would like or get more physical books is because I'm here for a little while and then I will move back to Italy, and this is not my permanent home. And so all of the books that I have here are books that, believe it or not, I acquired while I was here, which is a lot. When people say that reading is not an expensive hobby, they don't know what they are talking about. But that is just something that also diminished a little bit my will of reading. But this time I was super excited. 2025 coming to rock my boat and to get me down into reading new titles. Yet, all of this not wanting to read in 2024 taught me something, and I want to get to you with some little things that it taught me and with some methods that if you're going through the same thing, you can try to use if you want to get back into reading. Thing that I want to say is that this is my one best advice. If you're struggling to read and getting the will to read, I would suggest for you to not always force it, because I think that, as I said, for me the thing that really put me off it, aside from everything that I need to do, was seeing all of these numbers of people reading so much, and I felt left behind. And this is just something that is the bad side of social media, the constant comparison that we are always exposed to. And I just felt that I wasn't fitting in and that I wasn't worthy of sharing my reading experience because it wasn't as good as someone else that was reading a ton more than I did. I follow people that read 200 books a year. I have no idea how they find the time to read 200 books a year. For me, it's just something that I cannot even envision. As I said, it really made me feel left behind. And so what I would say is really don't force it. It's not always that you need to be doing it. Sometimes it just needs to pass, and it can take longer. It can take more than you might expect, as it did for me. 1 year of basically a reading slump is a lot, but I think that it can turn out, if you force yourself into reading, into what happens in school. And that is very sad, that you are pushed into reading books that are just for the curriculum, and you need to get into classics that are great in themselves, and then you really don't appreciate them because you read them, don't really understand them, are forced into them, and so you feel that it's not a great book. They are just forcing it on you, and it's not really something that you should be reading. It's something that maybe if you were to read it in your own time, at your own pace, you would enjoy, but because you're reading it in school, you're forced, you're pressed on timing, you don't enjoy it. And this is what I would say can happen as well if you force yourself into reading too much. And I think that also led me to this over pressure to being burnt out of reading, because I pushed myself to read so much, and in that year specifically it didn't work. Instead of forcing yourself into this, it would maybe make you feel like you're doing something that you would rather not be doing and push you further away from reading. don't. Just let it be, leave it be. It will eventually pass. It's okay not to read all of the time. The other hand, if you just feel that you are overwhelmed, which can also happen because there are so many good books that come out every single day and the TBRs are never ending, just by looking at shelves, library cards, windows in bookshops, it can feel very overwhelming. Where do you go? What do you read? It can feel just too much. And so I have a couple of suggestions for you that could make it a bit more fun and could make you fall back into the habit of reading. Do something bad on purpose, and bad in quotation marks, because some books are considered good and some others are considered bad because maybe they are not considered super instructive, as if you're reading trash and all of that. So just read something that makes you happy, something that doesn't need to be good, something that doesn't even need to be written well. It can be a Wattpad fanfic, it can be a stupid short story, it can be whatever that makes you feel good, and it works no matter what. I think that would make you so happy. I'm so sorry if you keep hearing doors slamming, trains coming. It's just mayhem. It's Saturday. People, why are you in? Why are you in? Just go out. Be normal. Don't be like me. Be normal and leave me alone to film. And the second thing I would suggest is invent a drinking game for a book edition. So maybe you pick up a book and you will look into characters sighing or things that are recurrent in your genre that you've chosen, and seeing how much a word comes up, and every time that it comes up you put it down as drinking a little bit, and so you keep drinking a little bit every time you have this behavior and thing that comes in. And I think that would be super cool if you are into that kind of things, because it can make it enjoyable and exciting, and it can make you have a lot of fun while you're reading. Thing number 3 is to watch an adaptation first that gets it completely wrong. And I love this idea because this is specifically relevant for those people that maybe are more into nowadays the watching things, or watch a lot of series and don't read that much but would like to get more into reading and watching the adaptation. I think that for me is something that works so much. I love it. I have watched the adaptation of Mansfield Park so many times. I've watched the 1990s adaptation and then the 2007 one, and I just loved it. I loved the 1990s more, but when I looked at it, I was like, I think that these things that it's looking into are not ones from the book, because Mansfield Park is a specific kind of book, and in the movie it had some traits, some things that I knew other heroines from Jane Austen had, and so I really enjoyed reading the book to test how much of the movie was accurate to the book. I really love that, so I think that it could be a great way to get into it. I want to be that person that is like, it's not like that in the book. You can be that person, and I think it's super cool. Write a breakup letter to your reading slump. I love this one. You can really start like a proper letter, like, dear reading slump, yada yada yada. You say all of your bad feelings, and then you can make it very performative, as in you can burn it, you can scratch it and break it in 1,000 pieces, or you can simply put it in the next book that you will read and read it before reading the book. And that, I think, is a super motivating way to just say goodbye to the poor old reading slump. We don't need her in this room. Something that could work for some people is to join an Instagram challenge. If you are part of the book reading community, the Bookstagram community, you will know that there are many challenges that are going by color, by trope, by things that you can find in a book. And there is the 24 for 2024, maybe there's a 25 for 2025. You can join one of those fun challenges and try to motivate yourself to pick up some new books or to select some from your personal library, I think that could be so much fun. I personally, unfortunately, am not good at those kind of things. I just am too scatterbrainy, and my will for reading books is just out of blue, select what I'm into at the moment, and so for me that wouldn't really work. But for some people that can be wonderful. This is a stack of trope cards. I love it. I got it into an Illumicrate box, and it's not all of the cards in here because some are attached to books. That I used this technique to create a challenge for myself. What you can do is just get one of those beautiful cards, put them like this. They have some great colors that you can select from, and then you get through them and whoop, maybe this one, an anthology collection of short stories. You don't have it in your library? Okay, select another one. Beautiful yellow one. Your newest Illumicrate book, and so on and so forth. And you can select so many cool things from there. And if you have trouble choosing, it chooses for you, which is great. And then it's also fun to scour your library to search for something that matches what the card says. So I think that that is a really fun way to get into it. Another thing that I think you could do, and that I do for most of my Kindle reads, is to sort for your next read. I have to say that this method is a bit more time consuming because you have to write down every single title that you have to cut the slips into pieces, and then you have to fold them, put them in a box or a bowl or wherever you sort. I have this wonderful thing that says books are a way to live 1,000 lives. You can see nothing, and so you can just go into it. I've not done this in so long. Let's see what it would tell me to read. This is just Kindle reads, by the way. A Legacy Witch. Have no idea what it is. And this is important because I feel that you also shouldn't read any blurb when you write down the titles, because this is also part of the intrigue. You have bought this book, so at one point in time you wanted to read that book for some reason that you don't remember anymore, and I love that idea because I just feel that I have so many titles in my physical and Kindle TBR that I've just added. I got them at some point in time, some of them were free, and I just added everything to a never-ending TBR pile. And just when I get into it, I know that I've sorted out some stuff for Kindle that I really wasn't expecting I would like. And then I was mesmerized by it. And it was such a good way to get into reading. And I probably should be doing this more. Finish a book you started and never finished. If you're here and are into a reading slump, you probably have one or more titles that you just started and then it wasn't in the mood for, or just didn't want to finish anymore. And I can show some examples. This is one that I started months ago. I think it was one for my challenges, but I forgot completely about it. I'm at page 182. I continued it a bit and then dropped it again. I have another book that is a journalistic book that I'm reading and I'm just bored by it, and so I ditched it. I also have stuff on Kindle that I've started and then the grammar, the style was just, I don't know, it irked me, and so I didn't want to go on with it. And I think that maybe giving it a chance could be a good chance to get back into reading, because you don't have to start a full book. And if you know what I mean, this is something that sometimes for me is a bit off-putting, especially if you know that you're not maybe into massively long titles. I know there is a large portion of readers that sticks to reads that are in between 300 and 450 pages or even less than that. And I think that starting something or going on with something you already started could be so cool. And I don't even think that you should reread the bit that you probably forgot about, because it kind of catches up with itself, it mentions it again, and you get the gist of the plot. And just keep going and see where it leads you. Use some timers. So the app that I personally use is the Forest app. This timer app that I really started to enjoy because I am into plants, and this app basically gives you the opportunity to make a plant grow while you are on this timer. The minimum timer is 10 minutes, and I highly suggest you download it because I think it's super cool. And I got the premium version for like £1.50, something like that, and you never have to pay again. There are things that you can do for a subscription, but you don't have to. And so you get this plant to grow. This is one example that I can show you, a little flower, but I have so many that I acquired through time in the app. 10 minutes is a good timer to set because you will get a plant to grow if you get this app, or you can just put on 10 minutes and then you go through it, you force yourself to read for those 10 minutes, and then if you're done and don't want to get on with it and want to stop, just stop. Try a different format. So I'm firmly against people that say that audiobooks are not books. What the heck? You can read in whatever way you want. I personally find that for me, audiobooks are great. I find them so cool. I love listening to them when I'm doing chores, when I'm just involved in my things, and I find it to be such an immersive experience. I love it. So if you are used to paperbacks, pick up a digital version or pick up an audiobook, pick up something that you're not used to and try to jazz it up a little bit and see if that helps you to get back into the groove of reading. Because maybe after you get into a certain percentile inside a book, like maybe 30-40%, it gets very exciting, and so you'll be motivated to go on with it. Be dressed up as your favorite character or as a character in general. I think that would be so cool, and I often do it when I film videos. You see me, I'm very committed to cool makeup, some cool things, and I think that making it theme oriented, so you can make it maybe a dark academia orientation, or you can even be inspired, as I often am, by a book cover, and then you get dressed up as a book cover, or you get dressed up as a favorite character, someone that inspires you. And then after you've done all of that, don't you want to get back into the adventure you got inspired from? Trying a blind date with a book. I have really seen this concept around a lot, that you have a book that is wrapped in brown paper and you don't see anything about it, and on the brown paper you have written on it characteristics of the book's tropes that it contains, and you just choose something that calls you and that has tropes that inspire you, and I think that could be super cool. But if you don't want to get a new book, I think it would be super cool if you involved someone in the project and told someone to just grab a book out of your shelves and grab maybe a couple and put down some key tropes, some key things about those books. You can find them on the internet, I'm sure. Or if you're that lazy, ask ChatGPT to get you down some blind date with a book with the books you have. And then after that, you can sort out all of the books that you have chosen, pick one, and just get into reading. And then it's a title that you maybe haven't thought about in years. You didn't even remember you had it on your shelf, and someone else looked at it, thought it would be interesting, and maybe you will enjoy it so much. But even if you don't, even hate reading counts as reading, so anything counts. These are all fun ways to get back into reading, and I really hope that your reading slump won't be as bad as mine was. But if it is, or if it's even worse, I don't think it matters. All that matters is that at some point we will get out of it, all of us. We can get back into reading, we can get back into what sparked the fire in us other times before. So it will come a time where that won't be a problem, but I truly hope that these methods helped you in some ways, and I really think that I will be using some myself because I'm excited. If you remained until the end of this video, you have to subscribe. It's a sign, and I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll decide to give it a like, and we'll see each other in the next one. Bye guys!